Hey everyone, we are here today. It is about to get seriously cold, even though we're down here in Louisiana. We've got some mid-teens coming, which for us, that's low. But we're about to winterize the old Isata 5 36DS. And we're going to use the method of blowing all of the air out of the system to do it. So, all right, look, my RV, it is filthy. We just got back from a long, dirty, dusty, muddy trip. So inside of my wet bay, inside of the RV, we have not cleaned it yet. We just got back, and it's gross. I'll show you a little bit of the dirt on this thing. Like I said, it's dirty, it's filthy, but it was a fun trip. We were doing some little backcountry stuff in Tennessee. So it's fun, and that's what these things are made for. So yeah, it is, it's filthy. Don't judge me, we had fun. All right, so the first thing that we're gonna do is we're gonna drain the freshwater tank. So right here, we just open this valve, and drain it into this bucket. That'll take a while. Thankfully, I don't have a whole lot of water in there, but we'll get that drained out first. The other thing I'm gonna do is I'm going to raise the front to get all of that water, as much as I can out of the freshwater tank. This will tilt the tank towards the back so that the water can come out. All right, so as you can see, we got it lifted pretty good in the front and tilted to drain as much as we can out of the tank. I'm also helping it drain the tank a little faster by running the pump with the outdoor shower, just kind of running into this pipe and draining. All right, so the RV is leveled back out, and you can see that the tank is empty. There might be a 1/4 inch of water in the bottom of it, but that is not gonna hurt anything if that freezes, because there's all the room in the world to expand. Now, the other thing I wanna do is drain the filter. These things, they're not, I already grabbed it with my hand and loosened it so I could do it with one hand while I'm filming, but there is a wrench that comes with the RV. It was in this big, like, canvas case. So if you need that wrench, it's there. All right, so the filter is drained, it's screwed back on, the tank is empty. We're mostly done in here. We are gonna come back and do something at the very end. All right, so the next thing we're gonna do is come over here to the wet bay. And then at the back here, we've got low point drains. So we're gonna open both of those. And you can see these two tubes sticking out of the bottom. And they're gonna drain a little bit. All right, so next we need to blow out the system. And what I bought for that, there's this little irrigation and RV winterization blowout fittings. This is an Everbuilt brand. Camco also makes them. Looks like this. This is the side that we'll need. Basically, it's going to screw into the freshwater input onto the RV. I bought a pressure regulator. Because I don't like the idea of putting a whole bunch of pressure into the system. I'm gonna put it to about 30 PSI, and then I bought this quick connect. This is the industrial style quick connect. They have industrial style and they have automotive, so you're gonna need the industrial quick connect. I did get the one that is a universal. It works on both, just makes it a little bit easier. But now, basically, we need to put this together. Viair, which is spelled V-I-A-I-R, They make a complete kit to do this that has the pressure regulator and all of the fittings and everything. If I had ordered one, or if I had thought about it enough time ahead, then I would have just ordered it, you know, off of Amazon and bought the kit instead of piecing it together. It actually would have been a little more expensive, but Wire is a higher quality product than a Husky. But this is going to get used once a year. It should be fine. So all that needs to happen to assemble this comes in two pieces. This is going to screw into here, and then we're going to screw this quick connect into one side, and that needs to be on the outlet, and this on the inlet. And you can see an arrow on the bottom of here saying that that is the direction of airflow. So the inlet is going to go in that side. And that is what the finished product will look like. Pull this tag off. So that's what it'll look like. I'm going to use some wrenches to tighten the three fittings, and then this will be assembled. All right, so you can see here that I've screwed the fitting into the city water intake. And what you do not want to do, is hook the air hose to that, because that will put way too much pressure. So that is where our regulator comes in. We're going to connect the regulator to it, and then we're going to connect, sorry about being so shaky, but we're going to connect the air hose to the regulator. All right, now I had already checked to make sure that my regulator was set to 0. So what you do is you pull down on this. You heard that click, it unlocks it, and then we just start screwing that in until we get up to 30 PSI. I can see it blowing water out, but I still have that open. So, let's go on and blow that out. So let's get that on up to 30 PSI. All right, there's just air coming out of that now, a little bit of mist. So close that, and then we're gonna go inside. All right, now we're inside. We're gonna drain our sink. So that's the cold water. Switch it back to the hot water. All right. Same thing with the bathroom. Shower. All right, and then the toilet. A couple of times. All right, so all of our water is drained at this point. There is still the ice maker that's in the freezer. We do not use the ice maker. It is shut off. There's no water in the line. We just found that campground water, we really didn't want to make our ice with it. So we just buy ice. But if you use your ice maker, then you're going to need to drain that line. There's a button in there somewhere on the ice maker that will run it through the cycles to get it to blow the air out, the water and then the air out of it. Now, while I have this hooked up, the other thing I want to do is grab this valve right here and flip that. And what that's going to do is blow out any water going to blow out any water that was in the line that goes over to the freshwater tank, because on these, when you connect your city water, you fill up your freshwater tank by just flipping that valve, and there's a line that goes over to the freshwater tank, and it's going to have water in it, so we need to blow that out. So yeah, just while it's hooked up, flip that valve down, and you heard the water get blown out. It's actually blown into the freshwater tank. So it's probably something that I should have done before I drained the freshwater tank, but still, it's only going to add a very minimal amount of water into the tank. I now want to take this out and put it down here. This is a line that you use to flush out the black water tank. So I'm going to move this down here and blow the water out of that. All right, so we're hooked up down here now, and you can actually hear it. I'm gonna be quiet for a second. You can hear it blowing that air into the black tank. So there's no more water in that line now. All right, and then one other thing that I'm gonna do is right here is the truma. I know that I said that the the water heater gets emptied basically when you blow out the lines. But one of the people in the Isata 5, Joel Clark, he mentioned that if you're going to do it, just go ahead and drain the truma, because it's so easy to do anyway. So okay, and that's what happens. You should probably let the pressure off of it first. All right, so let's talk about what just happened. I opened up the truma and I pulled the lever down that allows you to pull the screen out of the truma and also drain it. The thing that I forgot to do was to relieve the pressure, because I just had the pressure regulator hooked up to it. I had 30 psi of air in the system, and because of that, all of the water that was inside of the truma came blowing out at me at full force. So two things to learn here. Number one is make sure that you relieve the pressure before you open up the truma. And number two, what I said earlier in the video about all of the water being out of the truma when I blew out the air lines, well, that's just not factual. You can see that right here. So definitely drain your truma. It's incredibly easy to do. So as you can see, there was definitely water inside of the truma. This is the filter that came flying out as I just got soaked when I opened that. We're going to put that back in. All right, so definitely drain your truma, but make sure that you release the pressure off of it first. Don't be like me. The other thing that you want to keep in mind is that you are supposed to leave that screen out of your truma when it is winterized. Apparently, any water that's around the O-rings or anything will break the tank on the truma. So you just leave it out. I put it in a bag on the front seat of my RV so that I won't forget to put it back in when the next trip comes around. Now, I am going to use some antifreeze. What I'm going to do is I'm going to pour half a gallon into each side of the sink. And basically what I'm doing is I'm filling up the P-traps, but I'm also putting water into the gray tank when I do this, or putting antifreeze into the gray tank. But the P-traps are those U-shaped pipes underneath the sink that are designed to keep your sewer gases from coming back up, and they hold water in them. So you've got to put antifreeze in them or they could freeze and break. Here in Louisiana, probably don't have to worry about this, but we're going to do it anyway. The other thing that we're going to do, so this sink, the bathroom sink, actually drains into the black tank. So I'm going to pour about half the bottle into the sink. Then I'm going to pour the other half into the shower. And then I'm going to pour a bottle into the toilet. All right, so I poured an entire gallon into the toilet, and I'm going to... And what that did was it filled the toilet with antifreeze, because the toilet has a built-in trap, and it dumped that antifreeze down into the black tank. Don't forget about your tanks. Your tanks can freeze. The last thing we're going to do is we're going to take this hose right here, and we're going to stick it into a gallon jug of antifreeze. We need to turn the valve right here, and that's going to switch it from pulling from the freshwater tank to pulling from this hose. And then I'm going to go turn the pump on. And the reason that I'm doing that is I want to make sure there's no water left in this pump. The pump is something that, it's kind of hard to make sure I have all the water out of. You got things like this little sight glass here, and then we're actually going to get a little bit into there. And like I said, we don't drink the water out of here, so I'm not worried about having to purge some antifreeze. So let me go turn that pump on. Okay, so I had some problems with it at first, and I could not get it to pick up this antifreeze. But you can see I'm pulling antifreeze into the pump, and I'm going to go on and shut it off because that's all the antifreeze I need in there. But I could not get it to pull in, and the reason why is that I still had the air connected to the city water input. So there's some kind of a check valve in the system that keeps the pump from being able to actually push water into the system when the city water is connected. But anyway, you can see now I pulled more than half of a jug of antifreeze in. You can see that the water filter has got antifreeze in it, so the pump has got it, the line for the pump has got it, and we are winterized.